Next is a letter for CCA. Jen, do you want to talk on this? This
Sure.
is, Jen's involved with community choice aggregation. She's asking us to sign a letter that will show support for the Public Service Commission to allow a CCA, community choice aggregation allowed in our area. So go ahead and give a little explanation for us.
So, so the state is in the midst of these major energy reforms. The ultimate goal of these reforms is to move us away from the centralized large-scale model of energy generation and distribution to a more distributed energy network, decentralized energy system, where there's more renewable energy, energy efficiency, demand management, to reduce the stresses on the overall grid, to diversify the energy supply, because we're all very increasingly reliant, at least for electricity, on natural gas, which has a lot of price volatility, to reduce carbon emissions. There are multiple goals, and ultimately to help stabilize bills for consumers, residences, and businesses. And community choice aggregation is something that allows community, it basically empowers communities in decision making over supply. So right now, the default supplier of your electricity is, if you haven't signed up with an energy supply company, is Central Hudson. Central Hudson goes out and you don't have any say where they get their energy from or anything like that. In community choice aggregation, the CCA, which is made up of a municipality or a group of municipalities, is the default provider. And the idea is, with deregulation in the 1990s, it was supposed to bring costs down for consumers, but costs have actually gone up because we all individually consume such a small amount of electricity that the energy supply companies don't really have any incentive to compete for our business. So average people have been kind of the losers, and small businesses have been kind of the losers in deregulation. So CCAs allow you to aggregate, to increase your leverage in purchasing energy for municipalities to purchase energy on behalf of their residents and businesses. And also engage in energy planning and stimulate, not necessarily themselves invest, but stimulate investment locally in the local energy economy and increasing renewable energy generation and energy efficiency investments and the like. So the state is looking to enable this in New York. It has it's been around since the 1990s. 1,300 communities in the country are in CCAs in 6 states, and it's been very beneficial to the communities. So Citizens for Local Power, which is the group of which I am a member, have been interested in this for a couple of years because we see it as a way to basically empower communities to get greater control over energy decisions. And it happens to commute really well with what the state's trying to do in its energy reforms. So there's now a state level proceeding underway to enable community choice aggregation in New York. And we hope that we would like to see them enable it in a way that way that gives communities, the most flexibility to design the CCA in accordance with their own values and priorities, and basically just make sure they have a good, flexible regulatory framework for it.
Okay, can you
So
say
that's
that
it. So was that totally incomprehensible to everybody? I'm so sorry.
You can tell you're immersed in this,
So we
but
get to choose
I'm way
a
too
supplier
immersed in this. I really
consistent-
am.
So the community
but-
gets to choose a supplier consistent with its vision.
Yeah,
And-
and it's not just
Tell
that.
the supplier, we can give you
Right,
X number
right.
of
So a
potential
community has goals, right? Like our goals might be, we want to source some of our supply locally, right? We might want to create more jobs locally, like that could be a
like
goal,
a solar
right?
farm or something like that.
So instead of just, doing what ESCOs just go out to contract, go out to the market.
Does
and
everybody
put
know what an
together-
ESCO is?
Energy supply company. And it's this hodgepodge of they're putting together a portfolio and hedging and doing all of this, and you have no idea where your energy comes from, anything, and it's often very volatile because it's mostly natural gas. So in a CCA, you could say an energy developer. You can enter into a power purchase agreement with an energy developer and basically commit to buying that a certain percentage of the CCA's energy from there, and then that gives the security a developer needs to actually make the investment, and then you've created local jobs, you've created you've given yourself a hedge in your by if it's a renewable, say it's a big solar farm, for instance, right? That's a consistent source of well, it's free, but a consistent source of power over time. It doesn't have that volatility of natural gas prices, so it will make your bills more stable if you have some portion of your bill, coming from renewable energy source. So that's the idea. So you can meet multiple goals. You can clean energy goals if you want. That's the community's priorities. Stabilizing bills is really a huge one for everybody, and that's been the primary reason why CCAs were first started, was to stabilize and reduce the cost of energy for consumers.
Okay, so the key right now is that the Public Service Commission is making decisions about how to go forward in considering this. This would be a letter to say that we would support them considering community aggregation, correct?
Yes.
So that's what this letter is. So I will read the letter, which is going to take me a couple minutes. February 4th, 2015, Audrey Ziebelman, Chair of New York State Public Service Commission, Empire State Plaza, Agency Building 3, Albany, New York. Dear Chairwoman Ziebelman, New York is currently considering actions that will enable municipalities to introduce community choice aggregation. The Public Service Commission has included CCA in its proceeding to reform Energy Vision, REV, for New York in December 2014. Governor Cuomo named it one of the 5 key energy initiatives. The town of Rosendale and Ulster County applauds the PSC and governor for taking this initiative and asks you to ensure that the regulations give municipalities in New York State the full range of tools we need to become more resilient, achieve greater control over energy resources, and grow the local economy. In the Mid-Hudson Valley, we are acutely aware of the need to do more to solve our energy issues. The havoc wrought by Irene, Lee, and Sandy is fresh in our minds. Last year, we experienced severe winter peak price hikes, followed by the imposition of the new capacity zone, an unfairly imposed rate hike of 6 to 10% from the Federal Energy Regulation Commission. We understand that collective efforts are required to address our energy supply needs. That's why we support community choice aggregation as a tool that, with state enabling action, empowers municipalities to aggregate energy supplies, stabilize energy costs, and encourage clean energy investments that align with community energy goals. As municipal programs, CCAs afford transparency and accountability in energy decision-making, and ensure adherence to safe procurement regulations that protect customers. Because they're anchored in their communities, CCAs are uniquely positioned to involve their residents in taking steps to introduce energy efficiency and renewable generation. Through energy planning based on an assessment of local renewable energy resources and granular load and grid data, CCAs enable towns and cities to unleash their potential to expand investment in local renewable energy, energy efficiency, and demand management. In this way, CCAs can be an important tool for meeting New York State's energy goals at the same time as they contribute to economic development. Instead of sending our energy dollars elsewhere, we can build stronger local economies and keep jobs at home. To achieve those goals, municipalities that are planning to form a CCA need access to granular data, not just aggregated data, before the CCA program is created. This is necessary in order for their planning to include the formation of renewable energy and energy efficiency goals and implementation strategies from the outset. This level of forward planning also better positions CCAs to seek the financial resources they will need to build out distributed energy resources over a period of years or decades, enabling a strong version of CCA in New York will position our communities to achieve local, regional, and state energy goals to the benefit of our electricity consumers and our local economy. We ask you to ensure that CCA is available to New York's towns, cities, and counties in a flexible form that will allow communities' elected bodies to make the region more resilient and less dependent on volatile fossil fuels while enhancing investment in the local economy. So I'd just like to say that this letter would be in support of them considering CCAs and make us available to the towns. This is not, at this point, an endorsement that we will make that decision, because obviously going forward there's going to be a lot more work involved that our local organization will be working on figuring all that out, what kind of costs are involved for the community and for the towns before they sign up. But this is the first step to allow us to get the data that would make it possible for us to get that information. So I'd like to make a motion to send this letter to the chair from Public Service Commission.
I'll second that motion.
Right there.
Jen, I just want to ask, do you think it's okay if we vote on this?
I don't have any material on this.
I know.
Well, your name is on here though, and that would be, since you're on here,
Yeah.
it might be a conflict of interest. I would bow out if I were you.
I'm not going to say that you have to do that. I just want to make you aware that, I mean, I think that's your call, but is it going to, I just wonder, is it going to make it a stronger document with or without your name?
Right. You know, I've asked before about this when this came up with our transmission resolution. I called the Association of Towns to see, like, what do I do in this, because, you know, that I introduced it from Citizens Rule. And they said, you know, you're a volunteer doing this for a public interest, so it's fine.
Okay.
It's when you benefit.
Fine.
Like if
You
I
know
was
what?
a hired
You're gonna have
employee,
majority most likely anyway. You're better off just
right? The only thing that's
backing
weird
down
is
and not
that.
voting on it.
Right.
It's totally her call, because I
Right.
don't
I'm
think
just-
that,
I'm just
I don't
trying.
think, I agree with her that it's not
Right.
there's no financial gain, so there's no reason.
I mean, I don't mind that. It doesn't matter to me. The only thing is we'd have to take my name off the letter.
Yeah, you'd rather have your name not on there than,
Okay.
yeah.
It doesn't make, it would just
Yeah.
look funny if I
Or
didn't
have
sign.
your name on there.
No,
with,
I want this to be
refuse.
totally your decision. I just want it to be, to
Right.
make sure you're aware that, you know, are they going to take this as seriously, coming from someone who's worked so hard to get this, rather than the supportive group that
Yeah.
is, you know, listening. I just
Yeah.
wanted you to be.
I mean, I'm happy to abstain,
Um,
but what did you do?
I was just saying abstain. I mean, we could also have your name on there and just note that you abstained.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's do
It's
that.
your call, it's
Yeah,
your call,
let's-
but I just.
I choose
I
to
think-
abstain.
It would look better if majority went
Yeah.
yes and you abstained, and that's
Right.
probably the way it's gonna fly here.
I would, yeah, I think that's true.
Okay.
Because, only because you're already so active.
Yeah.
When they look
No,
at this,
no.
oh, it's another letter from Tim Metzger, you know.
Right. That's all. All right, Dad.
Take it from me, it gets in the wrong hands, makes an issue out of it, and then it becomes
Yeah.
a,
You know,
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, if you,
That's
know,
fine. I'm perfectly happy
Roll
to
call.
abstain.
Ready? Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
I abstain. My first.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes?
Councilman Ryan?
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh?
Yes. Okay, I was gonna have everybody sign this, but since Jen's name on it and she abstained, I think it might look better if we take her name off of it and have a new one drafted. If you guys are okay with that. And that means I'm just gonna have to stop by and sign the letter.
Everyone has to stop on it.
You do?
Pick up their checks, don't we get them in our?
Or association.
Oh, that's right. You guys gotta go pick up your allowance and sign the
Can
paperwork.
we do that
for
tomorrow?
Right.
I gotta see court tomorrow. anyway.
Depends what time.
The
Four.
thing is, they know.
Jen, you can sign it if you want to. It's not,
Right.
you're not, we're not gonna say you don't have to.
No, I mean, not
Resources
voting on the
down.
not voting on the resolution.
You can still
but I
sign it.
can sign it without voting on the resolution.
You guys wanna sign this and then we'll talk about, Jen can decide what she wants to do.
Yeah,
How's that?
just sign it, people.
You want the blue?
You can just
Keep going
write
up,
abstain
keep
too,
going down.
if
Right.
you decide not to sign it instead of.
Jen, are you gonna sign it? I can't remember what he said.
John?
We can draft a new one if you
John.
want. You want-
Councilman Hughes?
Well, I don't know, let me think about it.
She
I
wants to
think
think
it's pretty
about it.
simple.
That's okay. You voted, so you can
I
decide.
don't know, but I gotta revert.
I know, you wanna watch that show, not the.
No,
Too
it's
late.
over.
Too
Sorry.
late.
Too late.
All right. I'm not gonna go through every little bit of this. This is the, next thing is the Brinnier Larios, MS4 Stormwater Sewer Management Consulting Agreement. Same contract as last year. Joe Neem has been doing our stormwater management, consulting for the last,
Second name.
I'm
gonna write that statement.
is that what you wanna write?
Jen?
Sorry to belabor this point.
So just, if you guys get a chance, take a look at it, but it's pretty much the same thing. I think he's been doing a great job, working with Tom to, make sure everything's done that we need to do.
He knows our area,
And,
like the back of his hand.
And both Bob and Joe and Tom have been working with him.
I second the motion.
All right, we're not gonna do that till next week, it's just a review.
I don't second the motion.
The next one is our agreement with Hach. They are the providers of some equipment for water for both Rosendale and.
That's who we
High
deal
Falls.
with the state.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is
so
it the
it's
same
probably-
contract?
Yeah, they're pretty well
Yeah,
known.
I think they're
The only one?
probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're at a Long Island too.
So there's one for both High Falls and Rosendale.
So all these will be voted on next week?
Yep. Then there's an application that you guys are gonna approve to let me apply for, grant money that we've been getting each year to help us pay for the swim team coaches. So we've kept that alive, while the pool's been closed, so we'll keep doing that. And Manager Green had asked us to do a resolution to support
That was,
the proposal for the
PCBs.
removal of PCBs from the Hudson River. And Chris, you had done a little investigating on that. You wanna
yeah,
speak on
and
that?
she asked us wearing her Clearwater hat
Yes.
for that.
She approached the supervisors too about it. That's why.
So, this is the last year of the EPA mandated environmental dredging to clean up PCBs in the Hudson River. And once that's done, there will still remain some PCBs. And New York State Canal Corporation is required to do navigational dredging. Also, once that's done, the trustees who have been appointed in this case can still determine and levy damages fees. The trustees are New York State, NOAA, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So the idea behind this resolution is encouraging New York State and General Electric to get together and say, rather than GE finishing and dismantling the dewatering facility and the rest of their infrastructure, and then New York State building the same infrastructure on its own, that they could voluntarily choose to work out an agreement such that GE either allows New York to use the facility or even contracts to do the work. The resolution doesn't specify how to do it, just encourages them to figure this out. And while it doesn't affect all residents uniformly, the New York State Canal Corporation funds itself by thruway and bridge tolls, so it does still affect a good many of our residents.
And I just want to point out that Mary Lou made a change in what was proposed. We have one where, she put the whereas information from scientific studies has been presented to the town board indicating, and then took out all the other whereas and just made one. Okay, so this was added. And
Okay.
everything else is just,
Gotcha.
just as in relation to that whereas. I think the other one might have had whereas.
It was all
Yeah.
whereas.
So she changed it. So, I think it's still gonna give the same message. So we'll, there was no time constraint on this, was there?
They were asking by the end of February, so
Okay,
we don't
so
have
we
to
can
do
do
it
this.
tonight.
We'll
We
do
can
it next month.
review it for next week.
And,
And I'm happy to answer any of my colleagues' questions as best I can if you have them between now and next week. That's it.
thank you. Okay, am I missing something here?
Support the Newburgh Meal Processing Center.
Mandy, we have this request to stop the closing of maybe you just want to speak on that a little bit.
Oh, the
at
post office.
Post office.
This, I just found about it today.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know.
Okay.
Jill came over and spoke to me about it, but I didn't know
You had
about it.
nothing, no response from, okay.
No. So, it's
So-
still.
And if it's closed, what happens?
Well, we already, we can just say, Mandy can elaborate if she wants to, that we've had huge problems with how the mail has been handled. Not, many
Been for a while.
missing mail, checks missing, months, I would
They're
have
still missing.
letters that, that have,
And the funny story behind it is what some excuses was that there was parked mail. But it's not the case, it's not being done the way it used to be done. And now everything's being read by machine, so if you don't put things correctly on the envelopes, or it's not over far, so the.
window envelope.
Yeah, the window envelopes, and then if the the return address is over far enough, it gets all mixed up, and what happens is it all gets sent to a facility in Georgia, and then they are hand sorting it. So we probably, our
So-
stuff, who knows where.
So on a
it
short
is.
note, they want to close the Newburgh office, and from there, if they close that, where's all our mail going to go to? Albany?
It's
or
already going to
Westchester?
Albany.
It's already
going
going
to
to
Albany,
Albany,
and
and
it's gonna
that's-
make it more of a problem with
Right.
not handling the mail.
So what do we want to look at doing?
We wanna do this resolution that,
To not close it?
to not close it.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we should do tonight then. I mean, if it's,
I don't think that it matters if we do it tonight. Let me see,
I think it doesn't, it probably
Let me
doesn't matter
see.
even if we vote in favor, not to vote.
no, I mean, unfortunately,
But
they're gonna do what they wanna
they're
do.
gonna do what they wanna do,
but I think,
unfortunately.
you know,
It's
Good
sad.
to make your voice heard.
Yeah, I
What
think,
they're really doing is making more people not send mail, is that's
Right.
coming
People are gonna
down to
find
it.
other
People
ways
are
to-
not sending mail, or they're
I know,
going UPS, FedEx, they're not using the USPS, and they're doing things electronically, they just, they're gonna stop using
I
it.
think something like that, like this, we should vote on
we
tonight.
already did, we did a resolution, I don't know, last year sometime.
Yeah.
Because of the problems that we were having, I think all the town clerks got together and wanted something done. But this is just, heading more in the direction of not having an efficient mail system.
Well, I got a sneaky suspicion from a pretty reliable source that I think Tilson Post Office is on its way on,
I mean, if you guys want me to do this tonight, we can. If that's what everybody wants. We can move it
I
along.
mean,
It's fine.
it's not something like this, it's
Everybody
not
supports
something we have to
Right,
think
right.
about. the situation as poor as it is, if they do this, it's just gonna make it worse, so I
agree.
would think that we
can do
could.
this tonight.
Let's do that. Resolution 2, 2015, one. Yes, Bill?
Who's the letter being sent to?
Huh?
Who's the letter being sent to?
It's going to be sent to...
Lincoln's Insurance Company.
Believe me, I'm one of their best customers.
We're gonna put it in the mail.
I would assume,
I'm gonna say,
You can't guarantee it's gonna get there.
you should also send a copy of it to our congressmen and state senators as well.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the federal government does have oversight.
it's gonna go here, because at the bottom it says, should you have to send it to their office, so it would go to the Hudson Valley Area Labor Federation.
Yeah, there's, the area, the local union is asking for their support, so it's gonna go to them so they can gather all the letters and
And
send
then
it
present
out.
them out to the federal representative.
Right, but we
Okay.
could, I was gonna say, because we could just copy our federal.
All right, resolution 2, 2015, 1.
One.
Resolution requesting U.S. Congress prohibit the U.S. Postal Service from closing or consolidating its mail processing center in Newburgh, Hudson, P, and D.C. Whereas the United States Postal Service plans to close or consolidate the Mid-Hudson P and D.C. mail processing and distribution center, and whereas this plan would severely delay all classes of mail delivery, and whereas this delay of mail would negatively
That's a tough one.
Negatively.
No,
negatively affect residents and local businesses and would harm our community, and whereas the closure would result in a degradation of service standards that would result in the virtual elimination of overnight mail delivery throughout the country. And whereas federal law stipulates that the Postal Service shall have its basic function, the obligation to provide postal services to bind the nation together through personal, educational, literary, and business correspondence of the people, shall provide prompt, reliable, and efficient services to patrons in all areas, and shall render postal services to all communities. 39 U.S. Code, is that supposed to be code?
It should be code.
Yeah, I thought so. Code section 101A. Now therefore be resolved, section 1, that the town board of the town of Rosendale does hereby demand congressional intervention to stop this proposal to close or consolidate the Mid-Hudson P and DC processing and distribution center. Section 2 does hereby demand congressional intervention to stop the delay of mail and the elimination of overnight delivery of first-class mail set for January 5th, 2015, which is passed. Section 3, that the resolution shall be forwarded to our U.S. senators and representatives and the postal and postmaster general.
So 1 and 2, congressional should be capitalized. Give me a stick.
We can make it clean one.
I second the motion.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger.
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are again amending the resolution to authorize for the sewer grant application. Because when I was sent the email, the number, it was 18,600 on the email, and it's supposed to be 18,100. So this whole resolution is amended because there was one number wrong on it, so we have to fix it. This is the third time we're doing this resolution.
But
was
this
asking me, I'm like-
three's a charm, as they say.
I said, did the paper mistype something? Is something mistyped?
It was actually, Jason sent it to me transposed, and I used the email instead of the contract to write the numbers on the paper, so that's why. So I blamed it on him. He goes, "You got this wrong." I'm like, "I have an email from you on such and such a date, that's what you told me to write." But anyway, resolution 2, 2015-2. Approval for Barton Luge to submit a pre-development planning grant, PPG, for Town of Rosendale wastewater treatment plan improvements. Whereas on November 12, 2014, Town Board of the Town of Rosendale passed Resolution 11, 2014-6, and whereas in the direction of the USDA, a modification to Resolution 11, 2014-6 is needed for the grant application to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documents necessary for the administration of the USDA grant that is subject to of that resolution. Whereas this resolution is intended to amend the Resolution 11, 2014-6 to include such modification, and whereas Barton Judas of 10 Airline Drive, Suite 200, Albany, New York, 12205 has proposed the town of Rosendale apply for a wastewater treatment improvement engineering study, whereas pre-development planning grants are available through the United States Department of Agriculture to assist in paying costs associated with development of an application for a proposed wastewater project. And whereas the town of Rosendale is interested in doing a phased approach to wastewater treatment plant improvements, and whereas the town would like to take advantage of the USDA offering of pre-development planning grants, which will cover up to 50% of the cost of the preliminary engineering reports. And whereas Barton and Judas has submitted a scope of work to address the necessary requirements for said grant described herein for a lump sum fee of $18,100. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale authorizes the supervisor to sign said agreement, which has been attached and made part hereof. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale authorizes the supervisor to sign any and all documents necessary for the USDA pre-planning grant.
I'll second it.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger.
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Ryan.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. By the way, since we're on that subject, water, I don't know if, I hope everybody saw in the paper that we did get our grant approval for the water, so we got our $3 million plus money, and our closing took place last week, so we are now ready to start the work. Very exciting. And then guess what we're gonna do again?
Another repeat.
Resolution 2/2015-3. Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Rosendale supporting legislation introduced in the New York State Legislature and referred as a home rule relief measure, authorizing the Town of Marbletown to establish offices and conduct business, and the Town Justices of Marbletown to conduct business, including court proceedings in the Town of Rosendale. Whereas legislation has been introduced in the New York State Assembly and the New York State Senate, which would authorize the Town of Marbletown and Town Justices of the Town of Marbletown to establish offices and conduct business, including court proceedings in the Town of Rosendale. And whereas this legislation is necessary to allow the Town of Marbletown to move the town offices to the now vacant Rosendale Elementary School in the Town of Rosendale and conduct town business and court proceedings for the Town Justice, the Town of Marbletown at that location offers numerous advantages over the current town hall and court facilities, including that the school has adequate space and is accessible to the disabled. And whereas a resolution of this town was necessary for the state legislature to grant such authorization, therefore be resolved that the town of Rosendale supports the passage of Assembly Bill A.2297 and Senate Bill S.1530. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the New York State Assembly and the New York State Senate.
I'll second that.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger.
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Ryan.
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes. And Mandy, tomorrow you'll have to seal it and sign it. And that's it for me. You guys can sign some vouchers.
We get the short ones tonight, Andy.
No, it's my
Yes,
birthday
no,
week.
no.
I get
Oh,
the
happy
short one.
birthday.
Good birthday.